Hello friends, it's Shelley from Koala Knits and Knacks. I am so happy that you are joining me in this tutorial. Together we are going to make a bubble beanie or a garter bar beanie or whatever we are going to name it. I'm giving you that option to help me. And I'll talk to you about that a little later on into the tutorial. But we're going to make this beanie together using our bulky knitting machines. Now I have a Silver Reed SK155 9mm gauge machine, and that's what I'm using. I am also using my ribber attachment for the brim, but you don't have to have a ribber to make this, all right? So for this particular tutorial, we are going to use our garter bar. Now, don't shut the video off now. Don't be scared. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. It takes practice and it takes a bit of patience. If you're new to it, I will say I am new to garter bar, and it does have a feel to it, and it takes, once you get that feel, you'll be so proud of yourself, and you're going to be sailing. When you get midway through the beanie, you're going to say, oh, how come I struggled with this? So just persevere with me, and you'll be so proud that you did, and so happy that you did. So friends, join me as we make this really pretty beanie together. I hope that, that you have fun, and I can't wait to see the ones that you've made. Please be sure to look down in the description box below for links to my 2 Facebook groups. I have a circular knitting group and I have a flatbed group, which is a new group. So please come on over and join those. As well, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. So thanks again for joining me, friends. Enjoy the tutorial, enjoy the process, and I look forward to seeing your makes. I hope you're ready to start. I am ready to get going. I have my arm changed for my top carriage for my rib, because I'm using my ribber bed, so the arm is changed to the ribber arm, and I also have the ribber carriage attached as well. And we're going to use the ribber to do the cuff of this, or the brim of this particular beanie. But friends, if you don't have a ribber, don't worry. You can knit the same amount of rows and latch tool hook them up, hand manipulate your stitches, and it'll be just as beautiful. All right, so we're going to take a look at our instruction manual. This is for my SR155 ribber. That's what I have going on here. And I'm going to take a look at this chart. You've seen this on my channel before because I showed it not that long ago on a tutorial. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at how we cast onto our ribber. I'm going to just point out that on the ribber, this bottom row here is the ribber. On the ribber, we need the end needles on both ends to be ribber needles. All right, and that's what we're going to pull up first. So for this particular beanie, I am going to use Lion Brand Heartland yarn, one of my favorite yarns. I just love it. It knits up beautifully, it looks beautiful, and it's just got a very soft texture to it. I have taken one and made it into a cake for this project. I find it's much easier to knit when it's in a cake. And so that is what we're going to use for this project. I also have my garter bar, which I'm going to take out of this box. It's nice and shiny new. I'm going to use the bigger one. This is a small one for smaller projects. But I'm going to go ahead and take my garter bar out of there. I need both long halves, and I'm going to connect them together, and then we need the plates that hold our needles in place. We'll get to that very soon, but this is what you're going to need for this project. Setting that aside, we're going to take a look at our book here. See if I have it in the screen, if you can see it here. Let me just take a peek. We're going to look at this top row here, and we're going to get our carriages ready. So this one here is for the knitting bed, and this one is for the ribber. We're going to take a look. So we have our patterning there. We're going to put this little dial on or knob on the solid circle that's at the bottom there to shut it off. Then this brown one here, they're short and long. Put it on the S. I don't think that actually even matters because we're not using the patterning card, but that's what the book tells us to do. So we're going to do it. We're going to take a look at our carriage, and we're going to make sure that our side levers are on the 0. So for me, that's front. We want to have both of these levers front. When it's on the triangle in the back, that's what we use when we're doing our patterning cards, when we have a card into our slot there, but we're not going to use a patterning card, so we're going to keep them forward on the 0. Our Russell levers,
right here at the front are on Roman numeral number 2. That's 1, that's 2. Keep them both on 2. You use 1 when you want to have needles in hold and have them not knit, and we don't need that for this project. So we're going to keep them in number 2, as the book says. You're going to take your tension and you're going to put it on the R. Smallest tension that you can, and we have it, of course, on stockinette there, which is this right there. Taking our knitting bed carriage, we're going to make sure the Russell levers are also on Roman numeral number 2. Let me just see if this is in the camera. There we go, that's a little bit better, a little bit easier for you to see. So Russell levers are on Roman numeral 2. That is on my side levers here. I put them up to the 2. We have our side levers here on 1. There's 0 is up and 1 is down. I'm going to have them both down as mentioned here. And we're going to put our tension on the R. Oops, just like that. And then we have it on the 0 here in the middle. So if you move this lever here, there's a 0 and a U, or upside down U there. We're going to put it on the top there. And now you're going to also make sure that your swing lever, that's this one that's hanging down here on the far left side, is P3. I'm not going to move my camera for that, but P is up at the top, and you're going to just turn your dial until the red marker is under the 3, P3, just as our book says here. All right, now we're going to do our needle selection. And you'll see that this arrow here tells us that our first row is going to go from left to right. You can leave this on the right side now while we pull out our needles, and then we'll slide it across and it'll line up the needles in the correct position they need to be, and it'll be ready to go for our first row going left to right. So for the needle selection, I've determined that for you already. If you're using the same amount, same weight of yarn as what I'm using, you can follow along. And if you're using a different weight, you're going to want to do a gauge swatch and do the math to find out how many needles you think you're going to need. But I think this would also be for the average adult head. Ribbing has quite a bit of stretch in it. So here's my one that I made as a pattern. There's like really good stretch in that. So this is going to fit most heads. It's even if in a small head, because then the ribbing doesn't stretch as much, of course. So I think that this is a pretty safe number to do for the average head. All right. So we're going to do it over 79 needles. Now, because our book tells us that we need the end needles to be ribber needles, I personally select my ribber bed needles first, because that helps me to maintain my count, because they're both the end needles. If I do needle 40 on the left and I do 39, this is needle 39 on the right, when I transfer them up, this is going to go to 39 on the knitting bed, and it's going to go to 40 on the knitting bed on the left side. 40 and 39 is 79. All right, and that's what we need. So take your number of needles the needle count that you need, divide it in half, and pull out your needles on your needle bed. Now I could have done 39 on the left and 40 on the right, whichever works best for you. But do the needle bed, because then again, you're going to alternate with the opposite needles on your knitting bed. So this is the end needle. I'm going to pull out that very next one, which is 38. But when I latch this one up to this one here, once we're done, when I connect it up, then it'll be 39. Okay. Rewind this a few seconds if I just mixed you up, and that'll help you to understand it a little bit better. But on the left side, I'm going to now pull out on the knitting bed needle 39, because it's the one on the inside of the last ribber needle. Okay, because again, my ribber needles have to be the last needle on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and take my needle pusher here, and I'm going to, here's the first one that I put forward. I'm going to put my needle pusher into that slot and then push up every other needle, just like that, all the way across. All the way across until I get to the other one that I pulled out. All right, so I have every other needle from left 39 of 0 and right 38 of 0. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my ribber needles. I'm going to pull every second one out. And they're going to alternate and not jam and hit each other. As you can see, I have already moved my ribber up to its top position, working position. And I like to just use my, you can't see what I'm doing, but I use my fingers to do the last ones to make sure they're right. So there we go. We have them alternating with our ribber needle on both ends being the last or the first, however you want to look at it, needle. All right, so now that we've got those pulled out, we're going to move our carriage across to the left side before we thread it, because this tells us that our first row is going to go from left to right. Now I will move my camera. Once I move this across, of course. So bring it right across. Those needles are all in perfect working position, and we're going to add our yarn. Now, just so you know, I have my mast tension at 5. All right, so I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to just make a little loop in it, hold it like that, taking this little tool that I have, and I'm going to come up from underneath, put it between the beds. Try not to hook on the gate pegs. You're going to hook that loop. It's a little tricky. And then feed it down. Grab it and put a weight on it. You could have hung it over the side here and then moved your carriage across and then worked it in. But I find then it gets knotted on the gate peg, all caught up on the gate peg, so I prefer to take the extra time and do it this way. I fed it into the feeder there and slowly move it across. With a knot in here. Look at that. Had a knot on the inside of my just nicely wound cake. It happens, but there we go. We're just going to work with it. This is our setup row. This does not count as our row counts for our beanie. And I'm just going to look across and make sure that the zigzag went on all the right needles. It did. So we're good. So we moved across from left to right. Let me move this into the camera. We moved across from left to right with our cast on. Now it says to hang your combs and your weights. So I'm going to take my cast on comb, this one, and I'm going to go underneath it. Actually, I'm going to take the longer one. This one's not quite long enough. I'm going to hang that from underneath and secure my weights. There we go. You can see that I did that in time lapse, so it was a quick section of the video, but I have my cast on comb centered into the middle of those V's. Then I put my wire in there and I hung 3 weights, one in the middle, one on each side. All right, so now that section is done. So the next thing we need to do, now we've hung our cast on comb and our weights, we are going to go from right to left, but we have to change some settings. So taking our top carriage, we're going to change our tension from the R to 0. Let me see if you can see that in the camera. Just barely, but you can. R to 0. And then on the bottom here, we are going to change this side lever here up to 0, just the one on the left, and the tension to 0. Then we're going to knit across. Now I'm just going to show you while we're here. When we get to the other side, we're going to change our lever up here to slip, which we take this little cam lever here and we just put it to the left one for slip. But we're going to leave it on stockinette for now. We're going to move across one row. All right, so now that we've gone across, I'm going to change it to slip, go back from left to right. So I'm changing it on the top to slip and I'm going back. We have now done this row, number 6. We're going to change it to stockinette and we're going to go from right to left. So I'm going to change my dial. There we go. We have our setup complete. Now, when you see the arrows going back and forth like this, that means now you're ready. You change your settings to whatever it says here, and then you just knit back and forth as you need to for your project. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep those two the same. This stays the same. This stays the same. All these stay the same, except for we're going to change our tension to 3. That's tension on our top carriage. I'm going to change that to 3, that dial. Right here, we're going to move that side lever back to 1, so they're both at 1. So pop that down to 1. That's the side lever, and when I have my carriage over on this side, I'll go over it again with you. And the tension on your ribber to 3. Now that we have that set, we are going to knit back and forth for the desired amount of rows that you want for your ribbing. So we're going to go ahead and change our counter to 0. I'm going to knit 11 rows so that my carriage will be on the right when I'm done. So all I'm going to do is go back and forth for 11 rows. Let me just show you my carriage. Just going to stop it there. We have our cam lever on stockinette, tension dial on 3, Russell levers are both on 2, side levers are forward. We have our lever here up on the 0, tension 3, our side levers are both down to 1, and our Russell levers are both at 2. I'm going to knit 11 rows. I have now knit 11 rows. I'm going to move my ribber bed down 1 notch, just lower it 1 notch. I actually like to take both the ribber carriage and the arm off of the machine because we're going to change it out anyways, but I just get them out of the way. Oops, hang that over the side here. And we are going to transfer our ribber stitches up to our knitting bed. I'm just going to start here because I don't know if I'm in the camera all the way to the right. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your double-eyed needle, you're going to pop it into that needle, push down, transfer it up to the needle that's right above it. You're going to do that on all of your ribber bed stitches, transferring them up to the needle bed. I can actually see that I am in the camera, so I'm just going to begin over here. Continue over here. Oops, that doesn't have any stitch on it, so we're going to go to this one. Up to the needle that's right up at the top. So now I have, where's their needle? There's one right there. I'm taking needle 39 from my ribbon bed, moving it up to needle 39 on my knitting bed, and then every second needle on the ribber that has a stitch, we're going to transfer it up right across our needle bed. I love doing this. I think it's fun. Hook that double-eyed needle on there, and then I always just pull these back to be positioned, and it just helps to make sure they're secure on those needles. And here we go. If you get one that is snagging on your needle, sometimes I do get that actually, all you got to do is make sure that this latch is closed, then go down and it won't snag. This yarn is pretty good, but sometimes you get a yarn that likes to snag on that little latch. So if you close it just like that, then go down, it makes your job easier. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to transfer all my stitches from my ribber bed to my needle bed, and I will meet you back. And there you go. Don't we have a beautiful, beautiful rib? Now, your counter should say 11 and you're going to keep it on 11. I have gone and removed my cast on comb and the weights, because if you keep it on, it stretches out your end row here and makes it look funny. So you want to make sure you take it off and replace it with other weights. So I'm going to use these weights. I'm going to put one on each end. I've lowered my riverbed, as you can see, and changed out the arm on my carriage. And I like to use 4 of these big heavy weights, spread them out, 1 on each end and 2 in the center, just like that. And we're going to do a repeat pattern now. 5 rows stockinette and 5 rows garter bar. So we're going to go for 5 rows in stockinette. So I'm going to change my tension, almost forgot, change my tension on my carriage here to, what did I use? Tension 6. So I just changed the tension to tension 6. We have it in stockinette. We're going to knit for 5 rows. That will take us to row 16 on the counter. There we go. We got our first part of our 2-row repeat done. And now the fun part comes. You're going to take your garter bar. Now you're going to look and you're going to see that on one side there's little ridges above where these hooks are. There's a ridge. If you turn it around the other way, it's got like a bump, like a hill kind of thing. You want to make sure that the ridges on both of them are on the same side, and then you pop this in. Oops. Just like that, and pop them together. So both of these 2 sides are the same. I don't think you could actually even hook it up any other way, but then we have the smoother, bumpier side, like it's got the more of a hill there. This is a groove. It's very important to know, because when we use this for the first time, when we're taking it off, those grooves have to be facing up, all right? Because then when we turn it, we use those grooves to lay across our needles to help us transfer the stitches from the garter bar back onto the bed. But now that we have this set up, we need to grab our needle stoppers and let the fun begin. Now, I have moved my carriage as far over to the left as I can, and we're going to take, there are grooves here, and it's just a flat edge on the other side. We're going to take that flat edge, we're going to put it over the needle butts at the back of the needles, and we're going to pull up. This is going to sit in front of the needle bed, just like that. So we're going to pull up and let those loops ride up on the needles with this as we pull forward, because then they don't get in the way. And they'll just naturally fall back a little bit. Yeah, there we go. See, there they go. And then you just drop that, and these then are secure and in place. We're going to take the second one, and we're going to put it right beside. We're going to grab those needle butts, back of the needles, and bring these up. This one has to sit right beside the other one so you're not missing a needle. This one I have a hard time sometimes getting that last one in, but there we go. And I'm going to drop that down and into place, have those go back. Now I find to leave my weights on helps these needles to slip onto my garter bar better. They can get in the way, but if you can leave them on while you transfer your stitches, then it might help you. Now these ones are a little bit heavy, so they might not work as well as if I was to use my lighter ones, but we're going to give it a go and see. But I do like to have a little bit of weight. I think it helps to get onto the garter bar. So here's our garter bar, and we already determined that the little grooves here have to be up. All right, so when the grooves are up, we're going to slip these needles onto these hooks onto our needles. You want to make sure that every latch is open. So I take this kitchen scraper and I made a little nook in the side there. Lots of people do it with a credit card. And then I'm just going to go across here and make sure they're all open. Just like that. We're going to take our garter bar and we're going to have to move my carriage a little bit further left so my bar doesn't hit it. We're going to put those onto our needles. Just like that. make sure that every needle is caught. If it's not, take it off, do it again. So tipping it forward, getting it under the little latch, the little nook there, and on. And I'm just going to run my finger down here just to make sure, because it's very easy to miss a needle. And you guys, go slowly with this. Slow and steady wins the race. Speedy will cause much frustration. Okay, so we know that the grooves are up, and another way to know if the grooves are up is that there's two of the, like, you see this little rounded edge here. There's one here and there's one here. On the other side, there's just a single one on the bottom. So that helps you to see which is the right side as well. So I'm going to pull this towards me, and I'm going to tip it up. When I tip it up, the points of these little needles, so to speak, on the garter bar will go down, and that helps you to bring your needles up. Now, again, I think that these, yeah, see, my weights are going to push it back down. I'm going to take the weights off. My apologies, friends, I led you astray. See, it's not as easy as what it looks. We're going to start that over. I'm going to take these weights off. The last hat I did, I had my smaller weights on, and they weren't as heavy. These will fight against me. If you have smaller weights on, try it with it, because then I think it helps to hold the loops onto the end of the garter bar. But if yours are heavy like these, take them off. I wanted to give it a try here. All right. I don't want to edit this out because everything is... We're learning together. I'm not an expert at this or pro in any way. As I always say in my videos, I am learning with you. And so we're going to leave in the little glitches because it helps us all. So I'm going to just pull this side, lift it up a bit. We're going to bring those loops all the way back onto the garter bar, like as far down as you can get them. I'm going to move my hand over to give some pressure on this side. If you have this one here, it's split. So I have a strand that is still around that needle. I want to fix that, or I'm going to have problems with that one. So I'm going to just keep the pressure, pulling it towards me. I'm going to take this little tool that I have that's got a little hook, and I'm going to help this. Just like that and over. There we go. Now I'm going to take my finger and I'm just going to go down, and I'm going to make sure every second hook has a loop on it, and it does. So now that it does, see, here's where I wish I had my weights, because it helps to hold it down when you're lifting it up and you're not going to lose a loop. You can go ahead and put them on the front here before you turn it if you're more comfortable. But now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be very careful. I'm going to first release my yarn from my carriage, and I'll show you how I move my carriage to the other side, because when we turn this, our yarn tail is going to be on the other side. So I'm going to tip this up, push it back just to make sure that those latches are open. Lift up a little bit and remove it. Go gently and slowly, and you won't have frustration. Then very gently turn this. I say gently because, friends, it is crazy how fast those loops can sneak off those ends. Now that we have that, you might want to go ahead and add some weights on here before you hang it to help them stay on. I only have those big ones handy. The other ones are a distance from me, so I'm going to just leave it. But now I'm going to get this tail out of the way so that I am not fighting with it. And we're going to take our garter bar, and I'm going to just look up into my camera. Yes, you can see this end. We're going to make sure that all of our loops are open again, our latches are open again. So I'm going to run this over. And I'm assuming that we will all get faster at this as we practice. Okay, so now we know that we have grooves on this other side. I'm going to stick my needle, this tip of my needle, into that groove on the bottom there of the last needle that my loop is on, and then it will line up all the other ones. There we go. I felt that just go onto the needles into the right place. And so I'm going to push it that way a little bit, just to make sure that the hooks of the needles are at the very back of the garter bar on this edge, behind on this side of the loops. Then I'm going to gently, let me just do this. I'm going to push it down and pull it back as those needles hook the loops. Look at that. I'm going to push this up so that it doesn't fall off so you can see. If you look all the way down to make sure that there is a loop on every needle. If not, then put it back on and try again. Now that I am sure that it's all there, I'm going to gently pull this back and down. Get it out of the way. Ugh. Just like that. Slow and steady won the race. Now I'm going to just push this back just a little bit to get it out of the way. Then we're going to take off our needle stoppers. Why are you getting stuck? That doesn't even make sense. There we go. And this one. Phew, you guys, good thing I had a cup of coffee before I did this. I had a cup of coffee and a couple cookies and in anticipation, thinking, oh my goodness. So anyways, we have successfully used our garter bar. That's what we're going to do every time we need it. So two-step process. So now because my yarn tail is on the right and my carriage is on the left, you have two options. We can push these back now and add our weights. You have two options. You can put your carriage into hold, going from left to right. Make sure all your needles are in D position and slide your carriage across. Or you can do what I do. You can open the top of your carriage and slide it across. I'm going to add my weights. We have completed 16 rows. I showed you how to use the garter bar. I'm going to open my carriage. I'll stop in the middle so you can see it. I opened it so that when I move it across, it doesn't do anything. But what it did do is it advanced my counter. So I'm going to move my counter back by 1. It just moved it to 17. Pop that down. I'm going to move it back to 16. And we are going to be ready to go. Now I'm off camera here, but I just looked at my yarn and I noticed a knot that's coming up. So I am going to take care of that because I do not want to have a bunged project. So I'm going to actually change my yarn and I'll meet you right back. You guys, this little tool, I don't know what it's called, little picky thing, is one of my favorite tools. Because it's got such a nice sharp thin point, I was able to work in that knot and release it with no problem. So I didn't have to change my yarn or cut my strand and start at a different place. So now what I'm going to do is we have our counter on 16. I'm going to knit 5 more rows, so till 21. Then I'm going to do the garter bar one more time, taking off my stitches, transferring them to the other side and doing what I just showed you. I'm going to do that for several rotations, and then I'm going to come back and do it with you one more time. It'll just be seconds for you on the video here, but I'm gonna keep going, and then I'll come back and give you instructions as to how many rows, etc., that you need. But I'm going to do a couple more garter bar changes and meet you back. So 5 rows, pull out your garter bar, do exactly what I did. 5 more rows, pull out your garter bar, do exactly what I did, what I showed you, and take your time. And hopefully we will all have success. All right, have fun. I'll see you in just a few seconds. All right, so I've done a few rounds, but I still have the garter bar on there. I was hooking them back on, and you can see, I don't know if you can see in the camera, but I thought I'd pop on and show you that these two didn't get onto the needles, but all the other ones did. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little tool I'm going to go into that groove and slide that off and hook it on. Into the groove, pick it up, slide it off, and hook it under the hook. And then pull out my garter bar. That's the most awkward part, is my ribber's in the way, so it's hard to get at it, but there we go. Anyways, I was in the process of doing some more rounds, and then I was going to come back on and and do one with you, and I only got to row 31. I'm going to do a couple more, and then I'll show you the garter bar again. Or you know what, let's just get into it now, because I just wanted you to be able to see the patterning, which is why I wanted to do a few rows. But you can see there is our ribbing, and then here's what our bubble is starting to look like. This is the pearls, that's the stockinette. And so yeah, it's beautiful, very, very nice. This yarn I am having to take lots of care with because it's so slippery. So the other beanie that I did when I made the pattern was made with a coarser kind of a yarn, so it didn't slip off as easily as this one will. I've been lucky so far because I've been going really slow and being very, very careful. But yeah, it's fun. So I'm going to lift my carriage, lid, pull that across, change my row counter back to 31. I'm going to knit 5 rows, and I'll meet you back and we'll do one more garter bar routine, okay? All right, so I've knit 5 rows. I've done 36 on my counter. I'm going to take my needle, my needle guard here, or my needle stoppers. I'm gonna just push those back just a little bit. I hope my arm's not in the way, but I just don't want them to fall off. And drop that down in front of the needle bed. Take the other one. Do the same thing. Make sure that when you're putting this on and pulling those needles up, that you don't grab any of the needles that are in A position and adding needles to your work here. We want to just get in there. Just gonna just gently pop that down, just like that. And now we're gonna grab our little tool here and open all of our latches. Oops. There we go. We're gonna grab the garter bar. I need to get a rail or something that goes on the end of my machine that lets my carriage go further over. I have no idea where to get them from, but I'm going to do some research. So I have my grooves. If you know where, I'm in Canada, but if you know, I know I'll have to order them from the States or somewhere, but if you know where, link them in the description box below. I would appreciate that. I'm going to hang my garter bar just like that. And I'm going to just double check, make sure every needle is in there. If one of them isn't in there, all you have to do is push down on it. Let's take one out. Let's say that all of them are in there and it missed this one. Just like that. You just push it down, hook it in there, and attach it, and it's good. And in doing so, I think, oh no, I didn't. Okay, those are all there. I've removed my weights already. I'm going to tip this up, pull it towards me, and slide my stitches on. Move my hand down with some tension on it. There we go. Make sure they're all the way down so that they don't slip off. I'm going to take my yarn out of the feeder. I'm going to lift this up and back just like that. I'm not too worried if all the latches didn't open, because I'm going to go ahead and reopen them anyways, just to make sure, wherever my tool is. So I've turned my garter bar I'm just going to do this anyways because I don't even want to miss one stitch. There, I had about 5 or 6 that were halfway down there, so make sure they're all the way back and out of your way. You're going to take this, now I'm going to put some pressure on this to hold it on. Take this tail and wrap it around the edge of the needle bed to get it out of my way. And I'm going to line up my last needles with the last hooks. There, now I feel the end of the needles. And slide it off. Well, don't slide it off, just slide it onto the needles, okay? And make sure that this doesn't come right off, because if you have anything to fix, you're able to fix it. See, I have a couple that didn't make the needles. So I'm going to just use my little hook here and pick them up. I don't know why that's happening, because the first few rounds I never had one problem. But that's okay, because then we just fix it together. Into the nook of that needle. I don't like to edit these things out because it's so frustrating when you're trying to learn something and you're watching a video and you have mistakes, but they've edited them all out and you don't know how to fix it. So I don't do that. I try to keep my mistakes. It's not even a mistake. It's just how it's working. And so we can figure them out together. There we go. I have all the loops on and I just double checked. So now I'm going to pull this down and back and then grab it. Like I said, my river gets in the way. And we have successfully turned our work. Pop that in there, add your weights, knit 5 rows, and repeat your process until you have 71 rows. All right, so once you get the hang of it, you'll get a little bit faster at it and a little bit more confident. But you do have to take your time, especially if you're using slippery yarn like this. And if you do take your time, you'll have less frustration and you will enjoy the process a lot more. So I am going to lift the lid of my carriage. All right, or you can put your machine into hold and make sure your needles are all in hold. Move this across. Knock my camera in the same move. I'm going to change my row counter back to 36, and I'm going to repeat the process until I have 71 rows. All right, friends, enjoy the process. Have fun, and I'll see you in just a little while. All right, so I am on row 66 on my counter, and I'm going to do the last 5 rows. So we're just going to knit 5 stockinette rows to take us to 71. Once we get there, we're going to take our yarn out of our feeder. If it's easier for you to work from right to left, do 1 extra row or 1 less, whatever you like. I'm just going to take this right off and get it out of my way. Now you're going to take a tail of yarn that is 1.5 to 2 times the length of your project. I'm going to cut that off. Friends, this is just a little interruption to the video. So sorry. I'm having trouble with my camera stand. It's time for me to order a new one. And my camera keeps moving down on me. And so my angle when I was casting off was not good. So what I have done is I've added a new piece to my bed here. This is not the actual beanie. I have that off the machine, but I'm going to use this little piece to show you the technique that we use to do the drawstring cast off. So I hope that that's okay with you. Sorry about the little glitch. I'm going to add my double-eyed needle. You can use a darning needle too, and I'll show you that in a second. I changed the angle, so hopefully this will be a good angle for you. And we're going to just cast off with the drawstring cast off. So what you can do is put your double-eyed tool over top, pull it forward until that loop goes behind the latch, then go back, pull it through. Now bring this around that gate peg and your Gate pegs will hold your project on your machine as you do this. And then I'm going to take the next one, go through, come around that gate peg, and I'm putting a drawstring line in here. This is my favorite way of doing it, and I just take my time, make sure that nothing gets snagged or twisted, etc. And I just take my time and I go down the bed. Now you can also pull these out just a little bit. Just like that. Pull your work forward. I like to keep the weights on because then it helps to pull these loops down and they get a little bit looser and bigger and you can get your needle in there. And then you just go in the front of the loop, just like this. But it's an option. You can take your weights off if you find that, that it's too difficult. The hardest part of this for me is using my left hand. Or I mean going left to right. I'm using my right hand here. If you're left-handed, you'd be, of course, taking your... taking your needle in this hand and doing it, and it would be natural for you. I am the worst when it comes to my left hand, so I'm switching it to my right hand here and just being a little bit awkward to do this. But I'm just going to go in the loop, in between that loop, and I'm going to go across my needle bed just like that, pulling that through. And then those needles are holding those loops on as you go right across, and you take your work off after. Or you can pull these in front of the latches, or pull them forward so that the loop goes behind the latches, and then pull them back, and then your work will fall off. And then you just will have nothing here as you go along. It will just be hanging. But I like to keep it in place. And to be honest, this is my favorite way of doing it. I know that it's probably a little bit slower, but oops, did that twist? No, it's a little bit slower, but I just pay attention to detail, and it just is what works the best for me, especially if I'm going left to right. If I'm going right to left, that's different. Then I generally will pick up the loops like this and and work them that way. Now, if I was to take this off, if you don't have one of these double-eyed tools and you just have a darning needle, I find the ones that are plastic and a little bit bendable to be the easiest for me to work into those stitches for. So if I'm going to take the loops as I just did, then I'm going to pull them forward just a little bit. Let's take this weight off. This one I don't need anymore because those needles are already worked. And you can get it in there and in there. And because it's flexible, it's actually quite easy to work, and I can generally do 4 or 5 stitches this way. So keep going till you get to the end of your knitting bed and have released all of your stitches, and then meet me back. All right, friends, here we go. We have our piece off the machine. I'm going to just give it a gentle stretch. And there we go. We are going to take that drawstring and we are going to give it a pull. Be careful, don't snap it because that would be very sad. Give it a pull. Pop this onto your needle. I just have this double-eyed one here. I forgot to bring my little case over, so I'm just going to use it. Just like that. And I'm going to smooth this out. We have the stockinette stitch at the front. All right, on the inside, it would be the purl side. So we want the stockinette stitch to be at the front of our work. And we're going to take this and we're going to go around those top stitches. Just getting underneath, just like that. Pull through. I'm going to leave a very tiny opening, about like that, maybe a little smaller, for my removable pom-pom holders, which are pomkins, which are one of my favorite things. I will link them in the description box below. I'm going to show them to you in a minute, but we're going to just seam this up. I'm just going around the very top. When you order the pomkins, which I will, again, show you in a bit. If you follow my channel, you know what I'm talking about. There is a cinch guide that comes with them that gives you the idea of how much to leave open there. but I've done it a bazillion times, so I don't need to use a cinch guide. It's about the width of a pen. There we go. And you can't see it when you wear your beanie without it, but it gives you the option to have an easy removable pom-pom using the pom-pom holders that I have. All right, so there's my little hole. I'm going to go ahead, fasten this off since we have reinforced it around once and a little bit more. Pull that knot down with my thumb. Give it one more. There we go. Now we're going to take it up to the side here. And this is the right side and this is the right side. That's what you do when you got the mattress stitch happening here. I'm going to trail this off to the very edge, just like so. And we're going to find the row where the wide part of the V is going down. Okay, on the purl side, that's, you know, we're not going to be able to do it that way. We'll just grab the bar. But I'm going to try to get as close to the edge as I can for this particular stitch. If you have to go in it with the point going to the left, you can, but I just find it's harder to work into those stitches. So I always say take the one where the wide part of the stitch is going to the left. And I'm going to go into the center of that top stitch, pick up that first bar, pick up the second bar, pull through. I'm going to go over to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing into the top of that first one, pick up 2 bars and come through. Wide part of the stitches is going to the left. Here's where I came out, right there. So I'm going to go in where I came out. Here's my strand. I'm going to go in where I came out. I'm going to pick up 1 and 2. That is the mattress stitch. Go across to the other side. You're going to go in where you came out. It's right there. You're going to pick up 1 and 2. And you're going to repeat that down. Here I'm getting to my purl, so I'm going to just get under that first purl bump right there. And then I'm just going to, here's where I came out. I'm going to pick up 1 and 2 purl bumps. 1 and 2, just like so. In where we came out, pick up 2 stockinette stitches, pick up 2, and try to stay in the same stitch on both sides so that your purls and your stockinette match up. So I'm just going to take 1 here just to match me up. I'll take 2 on that side because I must have done it wrong. Then I'm going to pinch up here. Not wrong, but I must have just grabbed on when I was into the purl section. I might have gone off kilter just a little bit. There we go. Now it's perfect. And we're going to continue that all the way down. Here's where I came out. I'm going to pick up 2 purl bumps and 2 and 2. This needle is nice for this work. And 2. And then I'm starting my stockinette stitches here. 2 and 2. Work that all the way down. And when you get a section there, pinch where you last left off and pull. Don't pull so hard that you put a gather in there. You just want it to line up nicely. All right, so continue down to the end and I'll meet you when you get there. All right, so I am on the ribbing part and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to follow down where the wide part of the stitch is going to the left, and I'm going to pick up. And the same on this side where the wide part of the stitch is going to the left. Then when it matches up, it'll look like it was a natural row that just naturally comes together. Pick up 2, pick up 2, so I'm sure as you went along doing your garter bar that it got easier. Right? And so if you noticed an improvement and it got easier, if this is the first time you've been doing it, and it got easier for you, then just imagine, you know, doing a few of these and how much better you'll get at it. I just took 1 on that side and 2 on this side because for some reason there's an extra stitch, just the way it works out. So I just want to even it up. But it's all in the feel. When you're taking them off and putting them on, you got to have a feel for it. And when you do, it's a great feeling to know that you got it. And so I'm excited to have learned this and looking forward to other projects with the garter bar. All right, I'm going to take this down. There's a tail here. If there's no tail here, just tie off a knot and hide it, but there is a tail here. So I'm gonna just make sure it's secure by tying it. I'm gonna cut this off, and then I'm gonna hide my tail. I'm gonna grab my pumpkins and my pom-pom, and I'll meet you back and I'll show you what I mean, what I use. All right, so I'm just gonna pop that on there, weave this in, and then I'll go back, cut it off, and I'll meet you back. All right, friends, these are pumpkins. And what you do is you take your pumpkin and you take the elastic of your pom-pom and you just wind it around 2 times if you can, or 3 if you have a bigger pom-pom. If you have homemade pom-poms, you just take one strand and you wind it one way and the other one the other way, tie a firm knot, and then hide your strand up into your pom-pom. And that's how you do that. Now, take a look at these pom-poms. Take a look at how they look. Like, they're pretty squished and ugly. You shouldn't put pom-poms on your hats that look like this, and you definitely shouldn't gift them or sell them when they look like this. Take these over to your blow dryer, put your blow dryer on high heat, and blow dry them for 15 seconds, and then come back and see me. Or just like wait another 2 seconds and look on the video and you'll see what I've done. Magic. Do you see the difference? Like, when they come out of those packages or you throw them all into a bin, they get all smushed and squished and ugly looking. You comb your hair in the morning and you do it up really nice. You have to do the same for your pom-poms. Okay, so this is a navy one, and I like how that looks. Let's show you this one. So you're going to take your pumpkin, you're going to bend it in half, and you're going to stick it in the little hole, just like that. Go to the inside, and it automatically opens up like that, and no, it does not get caught in your hair. People ask me that, and it doesn't. And there you go. You have a beautiful pom-pom. Easy to take out. You just squeeze it. Pull it out the top. Look how easy that was. Kids can do it. Take your next one. Pop it in there. There's something about a white pom-pom. And there you go. You have options. All right, friends, so that is my bubble beanie. Now I'm gonna just quickly give you some measurements. There's my other one that I made. I used a yarn pom-pom on that one, and again, it's on a pumpkin, and I just tied it around. And then I took the strands up through the center of the pom-pom and cut them off to the equal height, so they're easily hidden. This yarn is softer, so it has a little bit more stretch in it, but unstretched, it's 9.5. Perfect. This unstretched is 7, but it stretches like look at that. I'm hardly even putting any pressure on it. So this is going to fit a lot of different head sizes. Turned out beautiful. I love it. And I am just thrilled that I'm getting better at the garter bar, and I hope you are as well. All right, friends, so there you go. We've got a garter bar beanie. Let's get this one out of the way. Or a bubble beanie. What would you call it? Put it in the comments if you have a different name. I might change the name on the video if I like your option better. So there you go. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial.
So here are the 2 beanies that I have made. Now, the feel of the yarn for both of these are different. Like the pinkish variegated one is a yarn that I've had for a while. I think it's a Craft Smart yarn. that is now like Loops and Threads soft classic yarn, I believe, but it's not that soft. It's a coarser feel of a yarn, and so it knits up a little bit smaller. Like I use the same needle count and the same row count for the pink one and the Heartland blue one. Heartland yarn is very soft, and so there's lots of stretch to it. So both the same row count and needle counts as I've mentioned, but the blue one is a little bit slouchier because of the nature of the yarn, but that's great. I love it that way too. So there you go. Here are my 2 bubble beanies, or you're gonna put what you think I should call them in the comments below, and I may change it. All right, and if not, then these are bubble beanies and garter bar beanies, and they were fun to make. And if you learned a new skill like I have, then we should be proud of ourselves. All right, so thanks for joining me, friends. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please don't forget to post your beanies in my new Koala Knits and Knacks flatbed knitting machine group. I recently started that group, and I'm so excited about it. So please come on over and join and show us the things that you have made. All right, thank you for joining me. Take care, have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye now.